Welcome back to the Radiant Fever channel. We're back with another Starfield video as we got some brand new information from Todd Howard himself. Appearing earlier today on the Kind of Funny podcast, he fielded a variety of questions where we actually learnt a fair bit. Todd likes Minecraft, Vasco can't wear hats, and fishing won't be in Starfield. But we also got massive info dumps on stealing spaceships, outposts, music, exploration, robots, aliens, romancing companions, and much more. So starting at the beginning, let's run through his answers to each question. Up first, we have a segment on player traits, skills, and backgrounds. After being asked about the very early game, Todd doubled down on the importance of player backgrounds, enhancing the roleplay ability of your character. As shown in the direct footage with those unique speech paths, which you'll be seeing depending on which background you actually choose, this is something that is pretty extensive. And those options definitely won't be a one-off. Traits are a callback to Fallout and are completely optional, but perhaps the most interesting nugget in this section is the skill badges we choose when ranking up aren't just found in the skill tree. These are also a cosmetic option as well you can add to your spacesuit. A question about fishing was up next. And you cannot fish in Starfield like you can in Skyrim using a traditional fishing rod, but it was hinted that combat with marine animals was something that could happen.
Well, it depends on your definition of fishing. So, is it collecting fish? Killing fish?
Considering that the city of Neon is surrounded by water and we see the remains of a pretty large creature in one shot, I'm hoping that whatever lives in that water will actually feature in some way. The practically unused expanse of water in Fallout 4 being a great example of what to avoid, but the cut underwater vault still something that I think would have made that space more interesting. Exploration and planets was a very interesting section as well. It was revealed that roughly 10% of all the planets in Starfield will have life on them, and surveying 100% of a planet will actually give you research data, which you can then sell for credits. What was a little bit disappointing, I think, was confirmation that currently there'll be no land vehicles, or creature mounts. So exploring all those planets will need to be done on foot, with the boost pack apparently acting as a kind of vehicle according to Todd. I think it's also worth mentioning that No Man's Sky, which Starfield is compared with a fair bit, does have options for land vehicles and creature mounts. So yeah, I'm interested to get thoughts on this, but personally, I'd love to see land vehicles added in a future DLC maybe. While exploring, make sure your spacesuit is equipped to accommodate the planet that you're on, otherwise you can become sick or suffer other ailments. Presumably to get around local effects in Starfield, maybe this will be countered by modding or crafting upgrades for the suit. An interesting nugget on alien species was a question about the signature creatures from previous Bethesda games, and whether there would be equivalents in Starfield, or is there a Starfield version of a Deathclaw for example, that would repeatedly feature on crafted planets or in the storyline. And yeah, here's his answers to that.
I mean, there's a few bad, there's one really bad one, there's a few, but you have to play it.
So there's going to be at least one very bad one. Purely speculation, but going off the footage that we've seen so far, I wonder if it's this creature we've seen in multiple trailers. Even attacking a different creature in one clip it seems, and I wonder if it could always be a xenomorph type of threat. There's also another one which has been name dropped, and this is a deadly predator species native to Aquila called the Ashtar, which is a regular adversary for the Freestar Collective. It's described as a cross between a wolf and a velociraptor, and my money would be on it being this creature we can actually see in this clip. Moving on, we got some really good new info on companions. Something I've been very eager to learn more about is how factions will play into which companions you currently have. It's been confirmed already, but we can become a space pirate if we like, joining up with the Crimson Fleet, who are diametrically opposed to seemingly every other faction. And Todd revealed that companions can get mad at you depending on choices that you've made. He didn't go into much more detail about this, but I'm really hoping that we could see some drastic responses depending on which factions we choose to work with. An interesting question was posed about whether our ships or outposts could be completely manned by robots as well, and apparently this will be possible. So either we can make multiple robots or there are going to be multiple possible robot companions. Finally, on companions and romances, Todd had this to say.
Are the Constellation companions the only ones that are able to be romanced? A lot of people very excited about romancing NPCs. What is the breadth of that? Is there a wide range?
The four main Constellation ones are the ones that support full quest lines for them and romance.
I'm not 100% sure with this, but if this does mean that only 4 characters can be romanced in Starfield, and all 4 of these are from Constellation, then that would seemingly give you less options than in Fallout 4 for example. But perhaps he just meant that these 4 will actually have full-size storylines or quests around that. But yeah, I'm not sure about that one, so definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments. Quick word on music. Traversing the wastelands of the Fallout series while listening to the radio stations is many players' bread and butter. In Starfield, we're getting one confirmed radio station, but it's localized to a specific location that you can dial into when you're far away. An interesting nugget on the development process for the game, Todd also revealed that the music for Starfield was actually one of the very first things to have been completed, preceding much of the game design. But ultimately for today's video, let's talk about some pretty big revelations regarding ships and outposts. Starting with ships, if you were to steal ships out in space, then you're free to use them as you wish. However, if you wanted to customize them in any way, then you'll need to actually register them, which will actually set you back some credits. In a general sense though, Todd emphasized that the extensive shipbuilding and outpost building systems are quite expensive, both from resources needed and credits for upgrading. So the full extent of these features will probably be most useful in the late game. Outposts can function as an economy booster, with resource generators, assignable crew, and even cargo ships set to shuttle resources between your different outposts, which sounds like an amazing feature actually. And lastly then, we have a section on modding. Todd confirmed that a performance mode version of the game was never considered, and he expects that Starfield will be a modder's paradise. Deeply appreciative of the years of modding content for previous games, this won't change with Starfield, with Bethesda said to make their job as easy as possible, perhaps pretty much confirming mod support. But with that, we've reached the end of the video. If you want to see the full interview for yourself, then I've left a link to that in the video description. But what did you make of this new information though? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll be back with more in-depth Starfield videos soon, focusing on a variety of topics from the showcase, taking a closer look at the building mechanics, factions, and some more developed theories about the artifacts and the main story. If you enjoyed this particular video, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. We'll be posting more Starfield content and a variety of Fallout content, so turning on the bell icon is definitely the best way to stay up to date. With that said, though, I'm off. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.